Thank you everyone. It's great to be here and connect more with the amazing developer and user community that's out here in Asia. And I want to tell you a little bit about our vision and where we're heading. So I want to tell you a little bit about the uniqueness of StarkNet and how this uniqueness of vision and accomplishments and ecosystem will translate into things that you will find only on StarkNet and nowhere else, okay? And then I want to tell you a little bit about how it will display itself in the UX and UI and in scale. So let's first of all talk about what is unique about the vision of StarkNet. So let me start by saying that the uniqueness of the vision of StarkNet is already being accepted on the ground by the developer community. So for instance, according to the report of Electric Coin Capital on developer adoption, you can see that StarkNet has the most fast-growing developer ecosystem. By the way, a lot of it is coming from this area, from mainland China, from Hong Kong, from Vietnam, Singapore, these areas, and we're very proud of that. And why is this coming? So we have a unique next generation system, including programming language that is safe and ergonomic, called Cairo. And for instance, if you ask Moody Salem, who is a core developer of the Uniswap v3 protocol and has now moved to build a Kubo on StarkNet, he says, as someone who has never written any Rust, I picked up Cairo in a few weeks, and I'm as efficient in writing Cairo code contracts as Solidity. It will be my preferred environment for writing smart contracts. So that's what he has to say about this new environment. And he has already written in a short number of months with a very small team, an AMM that is one of the hottest and best applications currently on StarkNet. To take another quote, Itamar Lesuisse from the Argent wallet says that StarkNet's ecosystem feels like Ethereum in the early days. It attracts the best talent in the space with its decentralized approach to development and innovation. So let me tell you a little bit about what it means to have trailblazing vision, at least according to our interpretation of the term. So it's about innovating, not copying. It's about not fearing progress and embracing criticism and adopting to it. And it's about staying true to the vision with no shortcuts. So let me explain a little bit what I mean about this. So today everyone agrees that ZK proof systems are the end game and the way to solve scaling on blockchain. But I'm not sure many of you know, but the person to first talk about this and suggest it as a means for solving scale and privacy on Bitcoin was me. In roughly 11 years ago at a conference in San Jose in 2013. So here's a list of things that by now everyone accepts, and each one of them was innovative at the time, and each one of them was first brought to the world in research, but then also in products by Starkware, through first its layer 2, the StarkX system, and then on StarkNet. So ZK as the end game for scale and for privacy on blockchain, we were the first, I was the first to talk about this. Starks is the best scaling technology. By now, all of the layer 2s that are building scale on blockchain use as their scaling engine Starks. When we came out with it, everyone was dubious whether this is the route, but it is the thing adopted by everyone today, by the Polygon teams, by ZK Sync, by many others. Validity rollups is the end game for scale. Validium and data availability, these are things we innovated and then everyone picked up. So we innovate, we do not copy, which is also why we came up with a new programming environment that is ergonomic, Rust-inspired, next-generation programming language for smart contracts. We innovate, we do not copy. Now, with each one of these suggestions, when we came out, there was a lot of pushback from many important people who said, this is not the way to go, it won't work. When we believe in something and we come to a deep conviction in it, we move forward. And what happens is that often it's been shown that with time, the world adapts and accepts that this is the best way to go forward. So I guess what I'm saying is there are a lot of trends in crypto. It's a very trendy and speculative space. And one way in which we're different is we try to focus on fundamentals and things that will stay around for a while, and we do not compromise on that. And that means that sometimes, you know, when the trends come and go, you won't necessarily find them on Starknet, but you will find long-lasting, future-proof technology that will win mass adoption. We have received criticism over a number of things in the past, and we do listen and adapt and address it. So for instance, we changed the lockup schedule for investors and team based on feedback from the community. We just recently reduced the pricing on contract deployment because developers said it's too much. And we shifted our focus from performance to stability based on feedback from the community. We listen and we adapt. That's our nature. The last thing is that our current focus right now is moving from addressing performance to addressing the side of demand and bringing a lot more developer-side applications onto Starknet in an innovative way that will shine a spotlight on why the choices that we made many years ago and are still making will turn out to lead to the best experience to users at the highest scale and smallest cost. So, about staying true to vision, what is our vision? Why are we doing the things that we're doing? So, let me articulate it for you. What we believe is that in a free society, integrity, knowing that the right thing is being done, integrity should never be assumed. It should be demonstrated publicly. So when someone, be it the government or a corporation or an individual, makes a claim about having done the right thing, we believe that this should never be taken on faith, but it should be proven and asserted in a way that is verifiable publicly. And that's exactly what blockchains are doing by having a system in which everyone checks everything. Well, what is unique about Starknet's vision is that we have found a mathematical way to exponentially increase the capacity of blockchains so that integrity can be demonstrated even without everyone needing to rerun everything. Now, why should we care about this? Well, the answer is that if integrity is never assumed, but rather demonstrated publicly, what we can do is we can make sure that when others are using our data, they're doing it on our own rules and with our own volition and agreement. And this will lead to you being the true owner of your data. You will own your assets, you will own your actions, and you will own your digital life. So the reason we are doing all of this is that we believe that by demanding integrity be never assumed, but rather demonstrated publicly, we will give you true ownership of your digital life, which is not the case right now. You do not own your digital life. It is being controlled by other parties that have other goals in mind. We will change this. So we're never going to compromise on integrity, on security, on transparency, on excellence, and on magnanimity, even at the expense of term wins. Our space of layer 2s and layer 1s is inundated with projects that, especially in times of bull markets, are rushing to reap the next wave of gain, and along the way, throwing away values like security and other things. We're not going to do that. So if you care about long-term vision and values, do check out Starknet and its ecosystem. How is this going to display itself? So Starknet, for instance, one of the brave choices we made early on is we went with a system that is 100% native account abstraction. There is no end user accounts that have specifically designated cryptographic protocol to do them. Everything is account abstraction based, which means that the wallets and applications that are being built today on StarkNet are going to be benefiting from UX and UI that is Web 2, while having self-custodial, highest grade levels of security. And this is something that you can only find today on StarkNet. For instance, the reason that Visa Research decided to deploy on StarkNet was because of this 100% native account abstraction. And if you think about the UX barrier to entry, to resolve it, you really need a system that has the security of Web3 with its self-custodial aspects, alongside the UX and UI of Web 2, which is to be found only in a network that gives you 100% native account abstraction, which is currently found only on StarkNet. Now, let's talk a little bit about scale. We are heading towards 10,000 TPS and more. I want to show you how we're going to get there, and I want to explain to you why we're going to get there. So, how are we going to get there? First of all, the capacity of compute that we today process is already something that is rarely seen in the web, in the L1 and L2 capacity, even among chains that have taken it their mission to scale the fastest and the best. So we measure things in terms of user operations per second. The new programming language and environment that we have allows you to put several different transactions in a multi-call. That's another unique feature that we have. And we've already clocked near to 200 of those at peak. If we look at the capacity for something like ERC20 transfers today on StarkNet, so our prover, the Stone prover, which stands for Stark1 prover, this prover today can operate at a sustained rate of 1 to 2,000 TPS of proving on current infrastructure, which is way above the demand that we see on any blockchain today. Now, there are other parts, namely the sequencer, which is very sequential, which limit our TPS a little bit more to the range of roughly 100 to 200. Our mission this year is to unclog that and reach 500 and more TPS. Now, that's our current bottleneck, and we will overcome it through this year. But we already are working on our next generation prover called Stu, which has a lot of innovations. The main one is that it uses a very small field, which leads to extremely efficient implementation. It's going to be the fastest prover. Already, according to measurements, we see it is the fastest prover out there. We see that it is at least 2 orders of magnitude faster than Stone. So remember that Stone can prove at a rate of roughly 1,000 transactions per second. Here we're talking about a new technology that will start meeting the market next year and can operate at a sustained rate of proving of 100,000 transactions and more. So this is already the level of the capacity that you need if you want to reach global scale and compete with things like Alipay, WeChat Pay, Visa, and those sort of things. So that's where we're reaching. Now, you may ask, why do we want this? Why do we need this? If you check today, demand on StarkNet, we're hovering at around 1 TPS, sometimes, barely scratching 10 TPS. Why are we insisting on going to 1,000, 10,000 TPS, 100,000 TPS? Well, we strongly believe that you can learn the lesson from the internet. The internet in the early days had very little usage. And if you go and read, let's say online, what made it go through this transformation, it was really unleashing scale, which allowed a lot of applications that couldn't be found before to suddenly go on it. So we think that in order to achieve our vision, that is, that integrity should never be assumed by anyone in any case, but always demonstrated publicly, so that you can own your data, your assets, your life. In order to reach this vision, scale must be at a rate that can sustain global usage. And alongside that, and a main reason I came here is to talk to a lot of the amazing developer teams around here to get them to build the applications that are going to use all of this capacity that we are unleashing. So with this, I want to thank you, and please come up if you want to build on StarkNet. Thank you very much.